Okay, let's cover the finish for the arm in guillotine. This is not my preferred method of finishing. I certainly use it and do it, but I think the high elbow guillotine is far more high percentage. There are defensive schemes that and just alignment issues that you're gonna run into with the arm in guillotine that you're never gonna run into with the high elbow guillotine. So just kind of be aware of that. But particularly if we're gonna end up in the closed guard. So, I got myself here and let's just turn. I got myself here and the arm is over like this. This is actually going to be one of the times where the arm in guillotine is going to be relatively successful. Getting a high elbow guillotine to happen from the closed guard is actually very difficult. The high elbow guillotine is much more well employed when you've got butterfly hooks and you're able to be more mobile with your hips. So this is the time where even if I was here, the likelihood of me getting that high elbow going is so slim that I might actually even let go and adjust to the arm in guillotine. My goal now is to get on my side, so let's turn here. Again, I'm not actually going to get on my side, but that's the mechanism that I'm using to try to finish the choke. I adjust so my hips are as close to 45 degrees as I can. You notice how Rory's head is framed against the ground. His spine is creating a pretty strong frame at this point. So if I can't break that frame, it's going to be a little bit tricky for me to choke him. Not impossible, but just be aware that what you're trying to do is curl your elbow and adjust so that his head is bent. And now I'm going to, so I had to kind of center myself to do that, right? I centered my hips, I bent his head in. Once I bend his head in, I'm going to open my guard, hip out, and now I'm going to try to finish. The finish is me closing my elbow to my hip. Right, just like we mentioned before, we're not trying to lift up, we're trying to crunch in to make this space as tight as possible. All right, so let's just go through that process. His head is usually going to be pretty strong here, so I'm going to center my hips so that I can lift them up. As I lift my hips up, that allows me to bend his head. All right, so I'm trying to get his ribs and hips in the air, changing the angle of his spine, making it easier for me to access the end of this lever here. So up, bend, adjust to the side, and then crunch in. As I'm crunching in, I'm also trying to bring this shoulder forward like I'm throwing a whizzer in, trying to bring that shoulder into the artery. Most of the choke is going to be happening on this side, but we still do need to try to follow that principle of bringing this shoulder towards the other artery. So without Rory there, I'm here, I've got the arm in guillotine grip. I lift up, I bend his head, I hip out, and then I crunch my elbow into the right as I raise this, very similar to the high elbow guillotine actually. I raise this, try to push the shoulder in, and I crunch down. I'm bringing, at this point, my legs in. So I'm crunching everything in, trying to make as tight a ball, basically pursuing knee-elbow connection as much as possible. So that's how you're gonna finish your arm in guillotine. Especially if you're somebody with like very long arms, you're gonna have to devote some time to this. I have played with this on and off for years. I've gotten really good advice on it from a bunch of different people. I originally learned it from Cole Miller at American Top Team, who's an awesome guy with some good stuff that you should check out there online. And then, Kai Otera has helped me out a lot with my arm in guillotine. So it's a process. As a guy with long arms, I'm not able to cut off space nearly as well as someone with short arms. So if you apply this and you're a bit of a short arm person, I think you're gonna have a lot of success. If you've got long arms, take your time, you'll get there. But just also know that it's not the finish that you want to devote the majority of your energy on. It's the high elbow guillotine that you want to devote the majority of your energy on if you're trying to build a game around the guillotine.